Gretchen. Who's Gretchen?
It's like Faust's lover or something?
Yes, from Goethe's Faust. Anyone know when that was written? I can't remember specifically, but it's like 1806, 1807.
It says 1814.
Really? That's awfully late. Oh, the piece. Yes, sorry. Goethe's Faust is what this is based on. That's written about 1806, 1807. Anybody know that? Anyone have to read that? Like a German class or literature class? It's like the great work of German literature. No one? Does anyone sort of vaguely know the outline? Faust.
French opera.
Yes, so there's lots of derivatives of it, but Faust is this guy, makes a deal with the devil, Mephistopheles, and one of the benefits of this deal with the devil is that he manages to seduce this woman, Gretchen. Mephistopheles helps him, knocks her up, gets her pregnant, disappears, and then Faust and Mephistopheles kill her brother. Gretchen is the one who's been knocked up, in case that's not clear. She has his child. She drowns the child out of grief. This is German literature. There is sort of redemption for her at the end. She ascends. She dies and ascends to heaven, and there's a big arc. But she's not in a happy place. So, early 19th century. What can women do?
Absolutely.
No, that's not true. They can get married and have babies, as God intended it. Huh?
They can cook.
The cook. I forgot about cooking. They have two things. Yeah. Yes. And be at home. It's like the Taliban. So she has had her one thing that gives her power taken away from her by Faust and then left alone as a spinstress. That is literally kind of the image here. She's sitting at a spinning wheel. The piano accompaniment is the spinning of the wheel. All this imagery is there. What do you think her mental state is? She is basically worthless as a human being at this moment. So, what do you think your mental state would be if you had nothing? D minor, yes. Or is it? Or is it? So, if we're in, so when I say, what do you need to be in a key? What's like the fundamental thing you need to be in a key? I will say this. Tonic. Whoops. Oh, exploding. Dominant. Subdominant. And I'll draw. This is a tattoo idea, by the way. Let's see if I can do this. See, it's like this, but upside down. It's not cool. If someone gets this tattoo, you get a half-grade bump. All right?
You got it.
Someone can make it look better than this. This is a whole person. This is a complete human being. You don't have to agree with my image of this, but this is your future, and this is your past. And this is you. This is, present, whatever. Again, my interpretation of how these harmonies tend to be used, but I derive this from this repertoire. So the way that composers like Schubert and Schumann and Brahms and Beethoven are thinking of this musically kind of tends to fall in this framework, and it makes sense to me. So if you don't have one of these things, are you a complete person? Yeah, either if you don't have this, you have amnesia, you've forgotten your past, or if you don't have this, you have no aspirations and you're just like totally depressed. And if you don't have either of them, you're probably in shock. You know, one of the things about being in shock, like you break your leg or something and you're in shock, there's no future, there's no past, there's just like right now and everything disappears. And so that's kind of tonic on its own without the supporting like kind of three-dimensionality that this gives the person. So let's talk about how Schubert paints her. And I have to emphasize, again, why is there no desktop listed? Jesus, why does it do this? Where are you? Gretchen, God damn it. Today is the day for funny things to happen. Oh, there it is. Okay, Gretchen Oxford. Jesus. So, just remember, Schubert wrote this when he was 17, which means he probably wrote, can you see this? He probably read this when he was 13 or 14 or 15. You know, this is kind of heavy stuff to read as a teenager.
He was smoking? He was on something.
Definitely not.
He was on something.
What key are we in?
D minor.
We're not in a key.
Prove it.
We are not
We
in a-
can't.
No, the
We
tone.
cannot prove it. So,
I mean,
No, it's I
key signature. We don't have a.
so I asked this question not to be clever and not to be coy and make you feel like, you know, stupid or something. I ask you this because composers make this choice. This is a choice that a composer has made to manipulate the audience. And as a performer, your job is to identify when those strategies are being used and to help them be clearer. Anecdote about this piece. My wife and I performed this piece at the Wigmore competition in 2017 as part of our program. And we made this awesome program that started with this and ended with Messiaen. It was this it's sort of this like redemptive arc, kind of ascending to heaven image. And we had a great time with it. We played it well, went awesome, and we didn't make it past the first round. And it was like, oh, whatever, okay, we'll go talk to the jury and see what they think. And we talked to one of the jury members, and the jury member said, well, everybody knows the story of Gretchen am Spinnrad. You don't need to tell the story. We just need to hear your instrument. And we sat there stunned, because first of all, I just asked all of you, do you know the story of Gretchen am Spinnrad? No. Also, if you don't want to communicate through music, work at Home Depot. You will literally help more people in the universe by helping them choose what kind of caulk to use on their sink. Like, don't waste your time. Do something else. But Schubert is giving us a communication strategy in the way that he has designed how the harmonies work in this piece. And that communication strategy has a long-term implication in this piece. So when I ask, what key are we in? I'm not just trying to trick you. I really want you to think like, okay, I have to triangulate the whole person. Do I have that? And if you don't, you need to start asking yourself, how do I triangulate that? Or when is it triangulated? What is being triangulated? In tonal music, something is always being triangulated. Tonic, dominant, subdominant. You have enough chords and you'll get that. So you always have to be asking, where is the composer pointing me and why? So you probably noticed, I said this last class, there aren't that many chords. weirdly, even though there are a lot of notes. So what's the first chord? D minor. So if you were to voice that chord in 4 voices, how would you voice that?
D in the bass.
D pretty much definitively in the bass, right? So D, say again?
D, A, F, A.
So A in the tenor,
Tenor, and then
F in the alto, and then A in the soprano. What makes you think this? What is when you see an accompaniment like this, how do you derive this particular voicing out of that? Because there are other ways you could do that. So I'm curious what you thought, or anybody else who wants to chime in too. But yeah, go.
Of the heavy beats, it has, like, because it's 6/8, so it's in 2
Mhm.
pretty much. It has an F on that like on the downbeat,
Mm-hmm.
the upbeat. So I have that, but then also the A kind of pops out a little bit more because you have the F and then it pops up to the A, but then it kind of is goes back down through a line that flows kind of nicely, then it pops back to the A. So it kind of, the F and the A are the 2 notes that are going to stick out in your ear among the soprano line, even that you have the non-chord tone E and the tonic D.
What kind of non-chord tone also?
Second.
Passing tone, exactly. So from that F to that D in the piano accompaniment, there is an E in between, non-chord tone, passing tone. Okay. Yeah, I agree with you. I think that this, to my ear, is what makes the most sense. High notes tend to pop out of a texture because our ears are attuned to things that are on top of the texture. That's why we think so much about the outer voices. There is a case you could make for, say, something like this. Having the F on top and the D on the bottom. It's there, right? You have essentially 3 notes in the right hand, 3 chord tones, F, A, and D, that you could choose from. But I think the fact that you have the F and the A in such close proximity to each other, we're just going to hear it as that voicing. Okay? But I'm bringing this up because anytime you make a reduction like this, you have to make these choices. And there are no pianists in this room, but I think it's important to know what notes matter more in any context, in any setting. So yes, I'd agree with this. Also, when the voice comes in, when the soprano comes in, what does she do mostly? She covers that space from F to A. Meine Ruhe ist mir hin, right? So Schubert is kind of doubly accenting that voicing, okay? So how long do we have this chord? Ein, zwei, drei, vier, fünf, sechs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Do we have any little changes? Anything worth noting in the texture?
Yes.
The soprano goes up to a D at one point. It's very exciting.
Yeah, is that worth acknowledging?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah? So at bar 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we get this. I should put this. When you guys do these assignments also, I really want you, I don't want to just see like a bunch of chords in a row. I want to see the meter and the bars, because it's really important that you are thinking about how many bars something lasts and where specifically in the beat those chords happen. Okay? So, you okay? Do you need, is your hand okay? Okay. Sorry, I just want to make sure you're fit. If you need to step out at all, it's okay. I'm sorry. That doesn't look fun. I want to know exactly when things are changing because it matters in the music, right? So these are all tied over. Then, yeah, we have this very expressive chord tone change. But is this a change of harmony? It's just a change, yes, genau. It's just a change of voicing. But it might be worth acknowledging. And the reason for that is because a great composer like Schubert does not forget anything that came earlier in the piece. So always keep in mind that when a composer like Schubert does something that seems prominent, remember it, because he probably does too. Later on, it might be meaningful. Yeah?
Super minor, but the only other change is the last 16th note of the sixth bar goes from an E to an F as it shifts into the next bar.
Yeah, yes, you're right. That's
Minor, but
I
it's
would-
just a pattern change, basically.
yes, I would say that that is to make the pattern smooth. Here's how that sounds. You barely hear it. You hear that. That's if you continue the do you all know where I'm talking about? Right here, the pattern in the right hand changes ever so slightly, but it's basically to smooth this connection over so you don't notice it. That's what's going on. If I just played it as an E, and then there's a little jump here, you notice that. So Schubert is just trying to smooth it over.
And I believe that voicing he has, is in a way he's kind of trying. It's gonna change, preparing our will.
Wait, you mean right here?
No, the hertz on the.
Oh, Hertz, yeah.
The voicing, particular, because after that it goes to C, right? And
Yes. So the voicing of the chord changes ever so slightly. Yes, exactly. Hold that thought for just a sec. Is there anything else worth noting in these first 6 bars?
bass.
Yeah, what does the bass do?
It goes from D to A, which technically makes a 1/6 chord, and
1, 6, 4.
1/6/4. Yes, that's what I meant. 1/6/4 chord in.
It's arpeggiated, so it's whatever.
Yeah, why would it be whatever? That you said whatever is really important because sometimes you would acknowledge that and sometimes it's not worth it, huh? What makes it worth acknowledging?
It can be unstable in most contexts.
Yes, any 6/4 chord is unstable. When I played, remember what the example was the other day? If that went faster, it's maybe not worth acknowledging the second chord because it just moves so quickly. It just all sounds like 1. So you always have that choice when you're presented with a 1/6/4 chord or any 6/4 chord that's an arpeggiated 6/4 chord. Do you acknowledge it or not? Is it important or not? But Schubert never does anything just 'cause. Great composers never do. Is there any possible reason Schubert threw that in?
What is I assume the hin, I don't know how to pronounce it.
Hin, yeah.
That means gone.
My piece is
Yeah.
gone, yeah.
Maybe it's like, gone, like emphasis on that. It's like gone, and the piano's like dun dun dun,
Mm-hmm. Could be a response, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Now the right hand of the piano, as I mentioned, was sort of foreshadowing what the voice will do. Right, the right hand of the piano right? So you've heard bits of the voice line in the piano accompaniment. Schubert could have just done that would be a lesser composer. But because Schubert is a great composer, he hints at things to come before you hear them. And so what comes next sounds familiar, or more importantly, inevitable. It was meant to be. That melody was meant to do that because I've been hearing it. I've been hearing it for 2 bars. He's been kind of dropping it in your ear. Mein Herz, bom, 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 bom. Okay? So in this case, I think rather than saying arpeggiated 6/4, I think it's more kind of a little motivic object, right? Maybe it's worth acknowledging in your reduction. Like if you want to just say like, okay, this motion is going to be important. So what bar? That's bar 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, you could throw that in, you know, maybe in parenthesis, just something like that. But the idea being that you're just acknowledging that it's kind of more motivic than anything else. We want to try to keep these as simple as possible. You don't want to clutter it with every piece of information. We're trying to get rid of things. But again, Schubert's a great composer. He will drop things in your ear before you hear them. Okay, so that's the first The first 6 bars are D minor. So let's just write D minor. We can maybe assume it's D minor, but we don't know yet. Then what?
Yeah, then
C major.
I believe it's C
Major 7
major.
question mark.
Yeah, so this is why, you know, we spend all this time talking about Roman numerals. But remember that Roman numerals are an interpretation of something. They are a recognition of relationships. If you don't know what something is, it's useful to just call it what it is. C major chord, and then figure out the relationship, okay? So let's just say C major, and how would we voice this?
C on the bottom of the bass.
Yeah?
And then I put a C on the tenor, but
No, this is why I'm asking, because you can see there's a thing.
You had them on octave apart? You had
C.
So what did G? How many people said G? Okay. C. I'm talking about the tenor. Tenor. C. What else? E. Okay. Clearly, possibilities. What about in the right hand and in the voice?
I did a G and E. Oh, I guess.
Yeah, if we're being consistent with, right, this figure, da-da-da-da-da-da, is dee-dum, then da-da-da-da-da-da. If we are saying that the first 2 notes of that right-hand figuration are the most important, then we want to keep that in the voicing. Right? That makes sense? But now we're left without a third in the chord. Now there is a third in the chord, right? On the downbeat, and then also on the second beat there. And also we have these parallel fifths. So again, there's a lot of ways to do this, but notice that Schubert does change the voicing. Like the top note in the left hand, rather than going down to a fifth, it goes out to an octave. But now we're still left without a third. So maybe, actually, we put that third there, which is over here in the figuration. Let me write out all these different possibilities, just so we can see, or actually hear all the different versions. So there was this version, and there was fifth, exploding chalk day. Okay, these are all the versions I think I heard people describe. So oh, God, that's horrible. Any reason to do one or the other?
That screensaver was both disturbing and satisfying.
I know, I like it a lot.
Look at the next bar.
Hmm?
The next, see if the next bar informs you at all.
Yeah, good. Exactly, exactly. You want to see what comes next and what came before, so what makes sense in the middle. So let's see what's in the next bar.
It's
It's a,
I
So-
literally wrote
Oh, boy.
it's septim, and I chose to ignore the C because
Why?
That makes a lot of sense.
so there is a
Big-
what's that called, the chordal and leading tone, which also resolves each other in the next sentence.
Aha, yes.
And the C is kinda behaving as a yeah, that he's
As a
sus-
suspension.
Yeah, what did you say?
sustain.
Sustain, yeah,
but
it's,
just being there.
yeah.
It's ensuring it's
Let's write all of this out because this is really,
Diminished over C. That idea comes back twice later on, actually. There's some C versus C action later, and I think it's
all connected.
yeah, this is great.
all connected.
With my red yarn.
Even if the composer just sat down and whipped this thing out in an afternoon and all these things happened coincidentally, you, the performer, get to make connections happen, which is very satisfying because sometimes you will understand a piece better than the composer does. I have experienced this many times working with composers. I'm like, oh, it was so cool that you took this thing from the theme that came at the beginning and the chord, and I was like, they're like, well, yes, I guess you could see it that way. I was just trying to make the section a little longer. You know, they'll say something really disappointing. You're like, oh, I liked my reason better. But yeah, this is not a thing, right? This chord, if we write this out,
well, you could say 2, 4, 6, 9. I mean, in a way.
when we have something like this, where, I mean, clearly we're not going to find a root position for this. Every version has a dissonance somewhere, a major second or a minor second or something. Clearly that means there's a non-chord tone. So you look for the notes in the chord that are the most sensible on their own, and then look for the one that doesn't fit. Schubert makes this relatively easy for us because the notes above the bass form what kind of chord? Yes, a B diminished 7. Okay. What does that chord want to resolve to?
One.
Of one, what's one? What chord? C major, yes, exactly. So it wants to resolve to C major.
It's a secondary, what's secondary?
Well, secondary dominant assumes that it is not the home key. And we don't really know what the home key is, but this is the dominant of this, right? One thing you can do when you're kind of puzzling things out, write an arrow. I like this because this says, like, you could put a little D here, right? Dominant. This is the dominant of that chord. You don't know what this chord is yet in context. You just know that this chord belongs to it. I think this is just useful generally when you're analyzing. Just draw a little arrow. So this C,
Yes.
I heard a few words, sustain. If it was a suspension, what would happen next? What would have to happen next?
Resolve
In what direction?
down.
Down by step.
But
It doesn't do that. We had one of these already. What do organs have? They have pedals. We were talking about 6/4 chords. There was a pedal 6/4. This is what's known as a pedal tone. Pedal tone, ped. Okay?
Which version are we using
Which version? What do you mean?
of the chord before?
Yeah, we can get to that in a second because we got, essentially, this is a non-chord tone. So just recognize it's a non-chord tone. Generally in these analyses, I want you to leave out non-chord tones. Yes?
I got so confused because like, how can a non-chord tone be in the bass?
Pedal,
okay,
a pedal tone. It will be the lowest note in the texture, and it doesn't belong, and it's held over from before and after. The nice thing about pedal tones right, everybody uses this because it's so easy. It unifies things that otherwise do not hang together. You can literally play anything over a pedal tone, and somehow it all feels like it belongs together.
Bach uses pedal tones like all the time.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Pedal tone. Or pedal tone. Actually, same progression. Same chord, actually. Okay? Just works. All right, so we can disregard this. I say we can disregard this because I want you to know what the functional harmonies are. Okay? So,
how do you write that down?
exactly. So now we have to revoice this. What would make the most sense? Because we're going to have to go back to C after.
So
Right.
You be in the bass. Can I do A flat for the tenor?
That would work. That's our
No,
chordal seventh.
Actually, I skipped the D and I just did F in the alto and B in the soprano, because B is in the soprano in the.
E? What?
But you wouldn't want to double the leading tone.
I have made a mistake.
No, but I want you to do this because I want you to notice when the composer is doing that, right? So you follow all the same rules that we've been using thus far. So I would do this. This is what I would do. Something like this, okay? if we were coming from this chord.
The C, G, E, C.
This would change if you're coming from this chord or this chord. I'm not doing this to actually tell you what the right answer is. I'm doing this to tell you that there are multiple right answers. Okay? But I want you to think about it because each one of these chords will have a different voice leading implication. How you get into this chord really depends how you voice this chord. When I play this piece, I'm not thinking exactly in this way, but I am thinking about which notes I think are the most important. And that is essentially what this exercise forces you to do, is to say, which notes do I think are the most important? And which notes has the composer left out or doubled or whatever. Okay, so I'm actually going to go with, I'm going to tell you my personal preference is, oh wait, no, it's not that one. Oh no, it is this one. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Because this kind of more closely mirrors how it sounds to me. So when does it change? When do the harmonies change? Also notice there's a funny voice leading thing. Anyone see it?
Parallel octave.
Yeah. Kind of no matter what you do, going from 1 to 7, if that is what this is, you will end up with something somewhere. Did you have a question? No? Okay. So I like to mirror what the soprano is doing, like the actual soprano, the voice part, because that's what we will hear as most prominent in the texture. So I like having the B natural on top. So how many times does this repeat? Actually, I should make these closer together because I know I'm going to run out of room very quickly. How many times? I'll make a little repeat sign there. Okay.
Oh, we could just do that.
I mean, for the purposes of right now, there's no need to write. Does anything change? That's worth acknowledging.
The soprano goes up to an F, which again is like more intensity.
Yeah, is that worth an F from what? Coming from what?
Just from the C.
From a C. What interval is that?
A 40.
Have we heard anything like that before? So it's taking the same gesture, doing the same thing, but now up a third. So I think it is probably worth acknowledging because it's a structural reference to something that happened before, right? So I will actually write this out. So if I have to do this, Gonna have to revoice this. Any ideas?
Take the alto down to a D and the bass down to a B.
Yeah, so could do that. If the alto goes down to a D, that's now bigger than an octave. Is there another solution? If we send the tenor up here,
Would that not cause like some problems just in terms of we're trying to keep the reduction as simple as possible. We're trying to also keep it pretty faithful to
exactly,
what's going on
yeah.
there. Like that there's a lot of extra stuff going on there that like if we broke one rule, we wouldn't necessarily need to worry about.
I want you to choose which rules you're going to break.
Okay.
That's always going to be the case because you're going to run into reality. Another possibility is we could swap the tenor and the bass. Okay, that would keep the bass line the same. So yeah, I'll just play this for you. With all of these, you have to make aesthetic judgments and get it sounding as much like the piece as you can in a way that reflects what you think is important in the piece. There's never like going to be a perfect version. There's just going to be what aspects do you want to bring out. But by doing this, you force those recognitions, what things really matter to you in the piece. So we'll resolve this. Is this what Schubert does?
Yes.
Sort of. What does the soprano line do? What does the voice do?
It stops?
No, I mean into the resolution, into the C major bar. This is the bar of mer, nimmer mer.
Oh.
Does the soprano resolve down to an E like I did so nice and neat there?
No, it drops down to a B and then up to C.
Yes.
When it's voice is the leading tone, no?
Yeah, so what do we call that when we jump from one note in the chord to another note in the chord?
No, incomplete tone.
Oh.
Chordal skip. Chordal skip, yeah. Is it worth acknowledging?
Sure, why not?
If I just went down to a C, does that work?
You could, but also then you're leaving out a chord tone. This is not a non-chord tone.
Exact. What chord tone am I leaving out?
The leading tone. Yeah.
In this chord? I'm leaving out an important note here.
What?
Oh, you're leaving out the third.
Exactly. Okay, so can I put the third someplace else? No, I can't put it here because that's the chordal seventh, and that has to resolve down by step. And that's the leading tone, that has to resolve up here. And I need the C in the bass, so I can't have the E in the bass. Oh, shit. So maybe that bar, nevermore, nimmer mehr, is a very expressive bar because Schubert actually changes quite a lot at the very end of that previous bar to make that arrival in the soprano possible. Are you following me on this? When you collide with reality and you can't make the voice leading work and you need to add something else to make the voice leading work, that means the composer has built in resistance. The composer has built in, it's like the music sticking on the brakes. Because we've had to change something. Because when you have D minor, D minor, D minor, D minor, D minor, right? Stasis is sort of numbing. When things change, that's resistance. That makes us wake up. Like, oh, wait, something happened. So every time we change a chord, that is what we call the harmonic rhythm of the piece. Have you heard your teachers ever say this? What's the harmonic rhythm of this phrase? I don't know, what does that mean? That just means, when do harmonies change? Did you follow that line of thought? Okay. So we do have to kind of follow what Schubert did here. And we could do something kind of like this. Okay, sort of pass the voices around. Okay, now let me play this from here. Get that? Yes?
Should we also, do we need to follow like the rhythm? Because the
Yes, that's a great question. I don't really care because I think whether it's on the last beat or halfway through the bar like this, it doesn't really matter. Two things happen in that bar. Yeah, you can be really granular about it, but if I were playing this, what does Schubert write in the piano part there, in that bar?
the same thing twice?
No, dynamic marking or something. The fact that you call that decrescendo is proof that the French won World War II. Or they think they did. They were assholes in World War II. Let's not. Anyway. To think of this as a dynamic, as louder, softer, is much more French. In German music, Germanic music, imagine this is a sweater. And you pulled the sweater apart. And like, oh, don't stretch it. You took time and stretched it. And then let it go back. This has more to do with rubato and time in German music than it does with dynamic. Yes, maybe you'll get a little louder. But often, this is a problem in Schubert specifically. In his manuscripts, he would often write something like this, and then editors would take that same note and write it like this. So it's an accent. Bah! Again, French. But if you're Schubert, wah! There's sort of a length to that note. It has an envelope. So whenever you see something like this in a score, that is the composer telling you not to get softer. It's like, we're forte, and here was one here. Okay, so now we're mezzo forte, and now we're mezzo piano. Oh, decrescendo. Why didn't he just write decrescendo? It's because this means something different than this. So when a German composer, Viennese composer, Austro-Hungarian, Germany and Austria don't really exist as we know them today, but Germanic composer writes something like this, they mean stretch time, which means a thing probably happened that created resistance. So that's a long answer to your question, do I write the rhythm? And based on how I read this bar, I don't think it matters so much, because I think he's saying about the whole bar that time stretches a bit and then recedes. So you stretched the sweater, and then you let the sweater return back to its starting place. Yes, Sarah?
And like, what's this exact time period? Like, was it always, like, did that always mean like stretching time?
I'd say if you're playing Strauss, you could think of it that way as well. He's both a modernist and a fuddy-duddy. But Brahms, definitely, Brahms horn trio. If you see this, that means stretch, relax. So before you think dynamics, think time first, unless it's French. French music, we don't look at much French music in theory because music theory is largely a Germanic tradition. But in French music, this is more dynamics, okay? All right, what key are we in? Prove it.
Cannot.
We
I
don't
th-
have we can't prove a key until we can prove E, which is ridiculous, considering it's at the ear A later on. 'Cause it's the only one that has remotely something relating to a subdominant. Because it's a 4, but it's not really a 4. It's more of a 5 like previous key. It's like, there is no key to be proven.
Well, this is, so the reason I love to teach this song is because there's this like profoundly messed up psychological element to it. And Schubert is painting that in how he uses harmony. So I want you to see how this can be expressive. But this chord here, this was a dominant, right?
Yeah.
Dominant of a tonic momentarily. What other chord have we had? D minor. In relationship
No.
to C major,
No.
tonic, dominant.
No, I'm not saying
No.
it. No.
Oh my god.
No.
We are technically in C major.
No, we're not.
Technically. If we, I acknowledge that this is like theory wonk way of thinking of it, but we are technically more in C major
Yeah.
than we are in D minor.
That's some bullshit.
It is some bullshit. She needs therapy. Okay, so just keep that in your brain. Obviously, Schubert wrote a key signature. So Schubert is telling you there is tension right now because the key we are actually in is not the key I am telling you we're supposed to be in. And also, we started on D minor and we sat on it for a long time without proving that we were in D minor. Let's keep going. What happens next after this bar?
There's briefly an A in there.
Hold on.
There's briefly an A in there. What is that?
Like
A minor.
There's an A minor.
Well, we have 2 measures of D minor again.
Oh my god, A minor.
There is an A minor in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
So 2 measures of D minor and 2 measures of A minor.
No, I did miss the A minor.
And it goes to a goddamn
Call yourself.
E minor. It goes to E minor. It ends on a, I don't know.
Then it's
what
F briefly.
It ends on a F major. What the hell is happening?
It basically messes around. It goes into E eventually, of course, because it has the A, the B, and the E, which is all you really need.
I got really confused. I just started kind of like, I mean.
There's an F. There's F major. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, on the end. On the end. It ends on F.
So
Because you have.
At some point.
I don't like this.
you all know the stories about the premiere of The Rite of Spring, right? So that was actually kind of not totally uncommon around that time. And earlier that year, 1913, so that premieres May 1913. In March 1913, there's a very famous concert in Vienna called the Skandalkonzert. You can guess why. It's put on by Arnold Schoenberg in Vienna. And it has his chamber symphony, which is not like his most controversial piece. But it also has some works by Alban Berg and it like amazing. I can't remember exactly the repertoire offhand, other than the Chamber Symphony and these 6 orchestral songs by Alban Berg, which are gorgeous. And literally fistfights broke out, and there was just the police had to come and break it up. And the concert actually ended early. The Rite of Spring, they actually finished the performance. And it was like on the first half of the program, if you can believe that. There was another half. So the Rite of Spring succeeded. The Scandal concert actually ended. This was relatively common in the early 20th century. We have lost that.
Let's go back to those days.
Exactly. So I want you
There
to...
are some modern pieces where I'd like to throw hands.
Great. I would like you to feel things when we do this stuff.
That's true. But
So I heard a bunch of things. A minor, how do you know it's A minor?
There's an A, there's a C, there's an E.
Where's the C?
It's-
So,
you don't need a C, you don't need a C, C's are irrelevant.
So, oh no, there is a C.
No, there is a
There is a C. If we again consider, like in the beginning of the piece, how the E's were passing tones in the first 4 measures, then if we consider the D's, like because they're in the same place, to be passing tones, then we have E, A, and C. That's how I reasoned it.
Okay.
Well, it's either it's a 1 or it's a 1, or it's either an A or like a 1-6. I don't want it to be 1-6, I'd rather it be an A.
Wait,
Go.
what if we go into D minor for 3 measures and that's the 5 of C?
Yeah.
If it was the 5 of D, no,
Wait, that doesn't make sense.
no, but you want it, right? You like are craving something normal. Please. What would we need if it was the 5 of D minor?
You sure?
Yeah, do we have that?
No.
No. It's an open chord. It's just open fifths. I mean, and yes, there's a C right before. So in our ear is C. Does Gretchen like being in D minor?
He doesn't want to anywhere. That's all.
No, she does not like D minor. In fact, right off the bat, she used D minor to get her to wiggle her way into C major. And now she is only returning to D minor
A brief of 5.
so begrudgingly. It's not even like we can't. I can't voice this so that there aren't problems. So I'm just going to do it with problems because obviously there are problems.
Schubert has problems.
Schubert
It's fine.
Schubert was like a really socially awkward, very small little man with, these glasses, and he was very like, he lived on his own and really didn't like see people that much. He was like, but he understood something about people as they really are.
Which composers had the whole honey thing where they brought honey? Someone brought honey in the middle of it?
Oh, I don't know.
I thought that was like Stravinsky.
Look that up and tell me.
Honey story.
So this is 5?
Yes. Could have said.
Sort of, but I don't even want to say that it's A minor.
It's
Personally, I understand your reasoning, but personally, the way Schubert writes it, if we're following his logic about the first notes, where does that B flat come from? Sorry, let me bring this back.
Wait, what?
That last bit. Where'd that B flat come from?
Oh yeah.
Wait, what are we?
yeah, to be flat.
So
Yeah, right here, this B flat. Every time we've had this figure, it's been chord tones, right? Chord tone, for the first 2 notes of the figuration, right?
no, we went back to the D minor one. Yeah. It's kind of leading to back.
It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything.
It's making you think we're going back to the D minor. It's kind of.
First thing we hear in the soprano, right? So when you write in non-chord tones, don't think of it as a discount. Like, it's just a non-chord tone. Move on. Non-chord tones are often very important. And the composer is using that non-chord tone to remind you of something. So the first bit we hear, the first thing that is like kind of outside the chord, yeah, I know there's a passing tone here. Very expressive B flat. So in this little turn here, Schubert is reminding our ear of the melody. Okay. 17.
Very nice.
Piece of shit. All right, we continue.
And the D minor.
It was Rachmaninoff and Stravinsky.
Oh,
Presented an immense jar of honey, thinking it was a thoughtful gift after having heard that Stravinsky really liked honey.
well,
That's
you know how the
Sick in the head, are you even ready?
I don't want to get too off track here. You know how the Rite of Spring,
Autism existed a lot longer than normally.
it was not caused by Tylenol, that's for sure. You all know how the Rite of Spring ends?
Yes.
Like that? Rachmaninoff apparently suggested that ending.
Oh,
Apparently, because they were friends. They were friends.
sure, and the honey, everything to do with the honey.
All right, so we're back in D minor, we think. Not really.
Sort of.
So,
Were we ever in D minor?
We do at the end.
so here's the thing, is that if a composer spends, this is a cop-out, but if a composer spends enough time just sitting on something, on a chord, it's definitely important. And you can kind of start to say like, okay, well, this probably is the tonic the composer's thinking of. The key signature too. I'm, again, not trying to be coy, just trying to show you like Schubert is trying to express something here. We are in D minor, but it's very weak. It's like, it's D minor in shock. That's, I think, the best way to put it. So we are going to be looking for evidence as the piece goes on, and we'll get to this Thursday because we won't finish this today, but of Schubert. So if we think of this poetically, she's had everything taken away from her that makes her worth anything in life. She is now relegated to this tiny room with a spinning wheel, and that is who she is now. And she clearly hates it and doesn't want it, and has not yet accepted that it is not only her past, but also her future. So if we are going to have D minor be who she is, then D minor needs to have a future, and it needs to have a past. Okay, then we'd be in D minor. So Schubert is essentially saying she doesn't want to be here. And she doesn't believe that this D minor room that she is in is who she is. That make sense? This is why I think it's really important to think of tonic, dominant, and subdominant in emotional terms rather than like, theory, whatever. Because you'll forget all that. Okay, what happens next? We have D minor for 2 bars, yep.
A minor.
Okay.
I would say A minor. Because it comes with 7.
Then we get the E. 7.
Yep.
Which I think I'm gonna call that a 1/7.
But I wrote 3 7s.
Kind of.
All right, so
I think it was 5, 4, 1.
yeah, so we get an E dominant 7,
Yeah.
right? And what comes next?
E.
I am actually lucky right.
So.
What's it's G sharp in the top, right? In the soprano. Resolves up. This is a dominant.
That's a 1.
So this is right at the page turn.
Perfect. Now I know where we are.
So this is the 5 of A minor.
Yeah.
And that's
If we're in A minor, what chord is this?
D is.
Four.
That's the
Four.
Oh.
We're never actually in D until the end.
So we could also be in A minor.
We are literally more in A minor
Yes.
than we have been in anything else so far.
Oh my god.
We are in A minor. We have subdominant,
Honestly.
tonic, dominant.
He's too young. Like,
Tonic.
He didn't know what he was doing. I'm gonna blame it on that.
Well, people aged faster back then. He did die like 13 years later or 15 years later. Like he lived until he was 31.
Well, he was young and inexperienced.
He,
I didn't say anything.
I think he understood. I mean, he had a genius in the sense of understanding humans as they really are. Mozart understood characters. Mozart writes great characters. Schubert knows who people are. Sorry, no, so just like his music gets to like the soul of the person, of the character, and that's what he's doing in this, is painting the whole human.
Wait, was that?
Yes.
It's pretty kind of genius in a way.
Yeah.
I hate that I like it because it does kind of work. And the fact that we've had D now twice, and we're in the key of D minor, but neither time that we've used a D minor chord has it been a tonic. It's been a 2 or a 4.
Yeah, or yes, something else. It's like
something else. It's like not.
it's a way. I mean, imagine you're sitting in a little room and there's a little window, and you're looking out that window outside. This is her looking out into the world, imagining other things. So what comes?
I think the next chord is really because it's the B7.
Yeah. So we have a minor chord. Then we have.
But I love this chord because it's the same as the previous chord, the previous B. It's a B and a C.
I'm just gonna quickly make some executive choices about how to voice this. Don't mind me.
It's like the D minor is a framing device.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. We're.
And it's well utilized, I'll say that. Does it piss me off?
Wait, is
Yes.
this only like 32 measures or something?
Yes.
How?
Okay.
Real.
It's like the longest 32 measures ever.
Exactly. Exactly. This is what I want you to take away from this class. Is like when you go looking for gold, you will find it. This is what you can.
I think if you go looking for coal, you'll also find that.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you're cold and you need to burn something, and coal will do that for you. What is this? What is this chord? There's a sharp, right? Which means
Leading tone.
leading tone, which means this is
C.
Uh,
Oh,
t-
E.
a tonic, right? This is a tonic, a local tonic. This is a dominant of that tonic.
Wait.
So if we were in E minor,
Is we are an E.
what is this?
It's a yeah, that's
Well,
the,
the 5/7.
the 5, yeah.
In E minor?
No,
This-
that's the 4.
This chord.
That's the 4, so we could be in
We're
D
not in A minor anymore. In fact, we never were in A minor.
I'm running out of room here, but
I'm losing
E minor,
Yeah, it's like that.
5, 7,
Yeah.
1.
Yes.
She really doesn't like this room. Like, really doesn't like this room. Let's just. I mean, there's more, and we can. I'm just running out of room, basically. I can go underneath here. We will get the whole thing.
It shows actually dominant. It proves that we are an E after that.
That what?
It shows that it proves that we are on E minor for a specific time.
Yes, yeah.
Because
It
there's
really.
a subdominant, there's a dominant, which your proof
Hmm.
will be shown.
Yeah, it does stay in E minor for a while. I just want to play this for you, just so you can hear it. I just find this song gives me goosebumps because it's just so messed up. And when you actually understand what the harmony is doing, it's so much more painful. That's why everybody knows Gretchen am Spinnrad. Bullshit. People don't actually like speak this language. A lot of musicians I speak to, they're like, "Oh, I love Schubert. It's so pretty." No, he's fucking with you. He's like actually abusing you emotionally. And when you piece it apart, the decisions are all there. So let's keep going. I've kind of lost track of what bars we're. Mir. We're on the bar of Mir. Yeah, I should actually put bar numbers in these assignments. That's on me. I should. That would be okay. So I'm just gonna follow. We'll probably run out of time. There's.
It's crazy. I love that.
My poor mind is indeed shattered.
Let me just, I feel, I want to actually go through all of this, but I just want to show you where this ends up. Because it's, oops. Just quickly, we can pick up on this on Thursday, but I don't want to leave this behind. This is fine, whatever. I don't know who this is, but. Oh, I mean, I know who this is. E minor. F major. Okay, we're in F major. But watch what happens. Watch what happens. What'd she just get? No, but what did she just get there? That
leading tone.
she finally got her C sharp. Right? We didn't have that before. Bit by bit, she's starting to accept that this is who she is. She's gotten her dominant. Now, I'll just show you something very quickly before I let you go. I'll just play this part again. What note is that right here? D flat. So she got her C sharp from the D flat. I will just jump ahead. Now over here, right here, she's talking about him. His lips, his kiss, his hair, she's dreaming about him. So every time there's F major, it's him. And so she got her leading tone by thinking about him. So he took her thing that was hers, and only by thinking about him can she kind of get bits of herself back. Okay? So you can see how profoundly expressive this language can be when used in the right way by a 17-year-old, right? I have come to feel lots of emotions since having a child that I didn't feel before, but Schubert has no excuse. He's 17. He had this understanding of the human psyche, and we'll look at more Schubert on Thursday. Okay? Any questions? No, you're okay. All right, thank you all.
I don't think I've ever met anybody who's neutral on Jacob Collier.
I love that take. That's good.
Last